This is the Digitsea GSM smartwatch. This is how it basically came in the box, sitting on a pillow like this. It comes with a set of headphones that plug into the micro port on the side, a micro to USB cable, an extra battery, there's already one in it, and an instruction booklet. The one first complaint I have about this is that the instruction manual is pretty sparse and lacks a lot of details on the functions and things of the watch it really should go into detail about. You kind of have to fool around and play with the the different things in it to kind of figure out what you need to do for everything. Digitsea was up against a previous watch that I've had for a while called the Papago, which I like, and it's currently on my wrist. And even though the Papago isn't a smartwatch per se, I really like how they put the Papago watch together. So it had some tough competition in that respect in terms of design. And my initial impressions of the quality of the materials used for this particular watch, especially the case and the band, to me show that how the wrong design choices really make a bad impression of the watch, no matter how good of the stuff they put in the inside. The band appears to be leather, and it may be, but its style and design is kind of this shiny leather, and I'll try to bring it up closer here. Kind of a shiny leather that kind of looks old-fashioned to me in its design. I would expect a little bit more of a progressive style of band, a little bit more fashionable style of band than that. I didn't like that type of banding. I would have preferred either a more natural-looking leather band or even a heavy-duty plastic band like what Papago did, as long as it's a stylish band. The other thing is let me take this off the case, off the pillow here. The other thing is I really don't like the way they've designed the outer framing of this case. Number one, as you can see, sorry about the light reflecting, but you've got a silver framing around it along with a black framing that takes up way too much real estate of the front fascia when really that should be utilized by the touch screen. And that's another one of my complaints. I think the touch screen itself really is too small, and that they use too much design on the casing to take up a good quarter inch or so of space that could really be used to make that small screen a little bigger. The other thing I have issue is on the bottom. It'll be a little hard to see here, but it's made of plastic, which I don't have an issue with, but it's a thin plastic casing on the bottom. And my biggest issue is not because it's plastic, it's because this case is not even waterproof. It's not even water resistant. To me, that's unforgivable in today's watches, especially new smartwatches. The instructions even say, what little instructions there are, that you can't even use a wet cloth to clean this watch. So that's a terrible design flaw for a watch that's supposed to be a smart watch that you're going to use it to be active with and all that kind of stuff. I just didn't like that choice. Papago watches, for example, are waterproof. You could dunk them in a pool of water and they stay waterproof. So that design is possible, and they should have used that type of design here, and instead of going for the way they went. And those types of things to me make a really, really bad impression no matter what you do to the watch inside. So, especially the lack of being waterproof. That's unforgivable to me. Charging time is quick. It charges at about an hour. Has a decent standby time, but the talk time is fairly short at 3 hours. So what's on the inside? I've criticized the outside. The watch has the capability of being both a phone with the GSM network on its own, but you have to have a SIM card. It doesn't really get into that too much in the instructions. Or it can be connected via Bluetooth. Since I didn't have an extra SIM card and I wasn't going to put my phone SIM card in it, I used connected with Bluetooth. And I wouldn't really use this as a primary phone device anyway. This would be like a supplemental device. Pairing mode was very easy on my Galaxy S4. The watch and the phone recognized each other very quickly. The screen display looks surprisingly nice, but again, I don't like because it's a little too small. I think should be a little bit bigger touch screen to make it easier for especially someone with big fingers to manipulate the watch. Again, they should have eliminated that framing and made this screen as big as they could, because really the framing just kind of sticks out and makes the watch look old-fashioned anyway. You know, especially the small screen makes it difficult for dialing, texting, for setup screens, anything that, you know, are small spaces. It's hard to deal with. No, surprisingly though, this watch has a lot of features packed into it besides being a watch. It allows you to change its, you know, watch design to different displays, which is cool, but only gives you 4 choices, which is kind of silly. Why not a wider variety of choices? And the choices aren't very good either. So, but besides being a watch, it can alert, you know, answer your calls, alert you to a call, display your calling information. It has a stopwatch, can play music, FM radio, take pictures, keep your phone book and call history, alert you to text messages, alert you to accidentally leaving your phone behind, which I like that feature. Control your phone's camera, has a sleep monitor, and a few other things I'm not naming. So it's got a lot of things packed into it. The one thing that's annoying me, though, is if you disconnect your phone, it has an annoying siren sound that's very annoying and loud. And granted, it gets your attention, but they could have made that a little less annoying. You know, you can disable it, but really you shouldn't have to. The speaker's good at being loud, that's for sure. The camera ability is not the greatest, but I really wouldn't use that for this device anyway. And in this price range, I wouldn't expect a great camera. You know, for me, I think a second button would do this thing some good to help with the navigation a little bit. Because again, the instructions are so poor, it's kind of hard to figure out what you're doing. And you know, for me, you know, there's no instructions on personalizing, customizing the settings. My watch said Can's iPhone, whoever Can is. And before I finally managed to figure out how to delete it, no instructions on how to restore the phone. It asks for a password that I don't have. I never set up. It's not included in the instructions. And no instructions on how to make it forget the device before I finally figured out how to do that. You know, this watch has a lot of promise, but questionable design choices, especially on the outside, it not being waterproof, the terrible instructions that make it difficult to figure your way around, and the small touchscreen when it could have been larger if they, you know, redesigned this watch a little bit, drag this rating down for me.